opportunities in Linn County. Please consider voting early with an absentee ballot or at your polls on May 3rd. The Linn County Auditor's Office has a very easy-to-use website that shows you where to vote, who your representatives are, and even what your ballot looks like with the language of the ballot. I encourage you all to visit www.linnCountyElections.org. Remember, decisions are made by those who show up. In addition to our strong partnership with cities like Cedar Rapids, Hiawatha, and Marion, we will continue working with our partners in Urban County Caucus, which includes the Board of Supervisors from Johnson, Blackhawk, Benton, and Linn County. Our meetings focus on issues that impact residents in the I-380 corridor. We are planning and strategically addressing long-range issues such as watershed management, mental health challenges, and enhancing quality of life amenities like trails. Our partnership with the city was strengthened when Linn County donated a $400,000 piece of property by our Mott building for the city's amphitheater river enhancement community attraction and tourism grant, which resulted in a $1.6 million award from the Vision Iowa Board. We are also an investor in area economic development agencies like Priority One and the Marion Economic Development Company. We appropriate monies annually to social service organizations like United Way and HACAP, and we fund area libraries through our Rural Levy Fund. We also appropriate annually $80,000 in non-property tax dollars through the Whitwer Grant that funds small area nonprofits. And while this might not seem like a lot, to many small organizations it means improvements in their services or adopting new technologies they wouldn't otherwise be able to afford. It is my personal hope that these regional partnerships will make Linn County more of a beacon for young professionals, businesses, and families. Between Linn County, Cedar Rapids and Marion, Hiawatha, and our other neighbors, we have a lot to offer people and families wanting to move here, and as importantly, people looking for reasons to stay here. I truly believe our best days are ahead of us. If 2010 was Linn County's year of groundbreakings, then 2011 is the year of our rebuilding and rebirth, a year closer to a new normalcy after the floods. Through proper planning, an exceptional workforce, and dedicated officials, staff, and citizens, Linn County is poised and ready for the challenges and opportunities that are at our doorstep. We weathered the worst natural disaster in our state's history, and Linn County will close our chapter on the flood in late 2012 or early 2013. We faced the worst economic recession in my lifetime with a AAA bond rating, taking advantage of historic low interest rates and leveraging more than $50 million towards our rebuilding. As our state and our nation continues to recover from the recession, Linn County is leading the way in the public sector to continually change and improve how government does business. Linn County will undergo lean processing to streamline our operations through new efficiencies and technologies. We will continue to look at every facet and layer of our operations to provide the best quality of service that our citizens rely on and expect, while doing so smarter, better, and in a more cost-effective manner. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to report that the state of our county is healthy, the state of our county is promising, and the state of our county is poised for great things to come. I truly appreciate you spending your time with us today.
We're flipping for the podium.
Oh, I'll go over there. Got it. If it's not written down, I don't know what I'm doing.
Now is your opportunity to ask questions about what you heard today or any other topic on which you want to pose a question. Remember, there are slips of paper on your table so that you can write out a question, raise your hand, and a volunteer will come collect the question and bring it forward. That means we've got well, we really only have 25 minutes to take questions because, where's your dad?
Right back there.
You get 5 minutes of rebuttal time.
Doesn't work that way.
I'm the moderator then. Ben, thank you very much. It was a wonderful presentation. I found it fascinating. While we're waiting for some of the questions to come forward, one of the things that I'd like to hear about a little bit more would be the timelines for the 5 building projects. Can you kind of tick through those and tell us when they should be completed?
I'll do my best. Of the 5, well, certainly the Sheriff's Department is already operational. We have the jail construction currently underway that will last about a year. End of this year. We have the courthouse, which that's a several phase project that will also be in 2012. The Ox should be done early 2012, and as well as our community service building, which will be done this summer.
Great progress, thank you. Would you talk a little bit about what types of green measures we'll see in the buildings that qualify the buildings for Silver LEED certification?
Sure. Great question. And there's a lot of things that help build points to get a certain level of LEED certification, you have to do points. So the way in which we have our construction materials, do we have, I had a conversation with the auditor about this morning, do we have paper towels or do we have hand dryers? That adds or reduces points on to your certification. We'll have energy efficient windows and roofs. I'm sure with LEED certification there's a certain percent of water that you keep out of the storm sewers that you retain on your property. We'll have detention basins on the community service building. And I'm sure there are other measures I'm just not thinking of, but we will be incredibly more efficient than what we were prior to the flood.
While we're talking about the flood, you described the partnership that the county has with the city of Cedar Rapids to protect Mays Island. What other measures, besides retention basins on property, is the county taking in order to prevent not only flooding, here against buildings that you own, but out in the county, other communities, and farmland?
Well, I know that Linda, Supervisor Langston has been pretty instrumental in the Watershed Coalition. We're working with our legislators to address that larger issue. You just can't do flood walls and think that is the end-all be-all for flooding. You have to look upstream. But while walls are important and absolutely critical to our protection, we are looking to help address the watershed issues on farmers, tiling, and ways that we can divert the river before it comes full stream into Cedar Rapids.
And is this something that you're also working with? I know some of the legislators are very interested in watershed issues. Is that something the county continues to work with the state on?
Yes, and again, this has implications not just for Cedar Rapids, but for all of Linn County. We have a lot of our neighbors that are near creeks and streams, and so we are addressing all of those issues through the Watershed Coalition and through our constant contact with Marion and Hiawatha and Prairieburg and all the areas that we represent.
Talking about the sales tax, and I think I took this down correctly, but please let me know if I didn't. So 25% for property tax relief for the county, 50% for roads, and then the other 25% was for what?
Conservation.
Okay.
So that'll address some of the issues of water management, as well as improving our county parks and trail system. And
then what is Linn County's estimated share, assuming that the tax is extended?
That'll be $100 million total over 20 years, so about $5 million additional coming into Linn County for improving our roads, our parks, and as well as providing actual tax relief for unincorporated Linn County residents.
One question while we're on topic of roads, how soon will the Highway 100 extension be completed on the west side of the county?
Yeah, I defer to you, Department of Transportation Commissioner.
Well, I'd be curious as to your answer.
Good attorney. Dennis, do you have any idea when I know we have maybe, I think, one last piece of property that needs purchasing before we're able to...
Well, maybe the question is, where are you? I can speak to the Department of Transportation issue, which of course is that we were expending dollars in this year and next for property acquisition, design. So is there property still left to be acquired?
I think there's at least one parcel.
Okay, one parcel.
One parcel, so.
And then within the 5-year plan currently, I think, Alan, what do we have at 2015 is where we start construction? And I should note that the Department of Transportation will be here touring Cedar Rapids, that segment of the road, next...
A week from Tuesday.
A week from Tuesday. No, a week from Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, a week from Monday. So we can show up and ask them then. Another question that was posed, the legislature is still considering mental health care reform, even though that issue isn't resolved yet. How do you anticipate that issue will shake out, and what is your position on it?
Well, that's a big issue that has a massive impact on Linn County citizens. To answer your question, the legislature is looking at buying back the mental health system. And I think if you were to ask Craig Wood, who is our mental health and developmental disability director, or John Brandt, our community services director, we don't know how it's going to shake out. We don't know how a state-run system will benefit people, because we have a very efficient run mental health department. We are really a model for the state. So I don't know if the state is going to model themselves after us, but certainly there are some pros and cons, but we're just waiting to see what else is shaking out. But we're in constant contact with Representative Renee Schulte, who is shepherding through this bill.
Well, is it the county's position that you want to see the state take over that system?
Well, we haven't really seen all that is there. I know that we are limited in how much we can spend on mental health due to a file called Senate File 69 from 1996, that we can only spend a certain amount of dollars and the state has to reimburse us. So if the state taking it over is better than the system we have now, then great, but I don't know if we've seen anything that indicates that it would be that way. So again, it's ongoing, and they're looking for implementation July of next year, and to me that seems supersonic. So I know that conversations are ongoing. To answer your direct question, I don't think Linn County has yet come up with a position or a lobbyist or for or against it. So again, we're just trying to still learn all about it.
Taken a couple of questions back to the building projects on the labor agreements.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this was an issue raised with the city as well, but what is your position on the project labor agreements? Maybe you should explain to folks about that issue in case they aren't familiar with it.
Project labor agreements really are our only tool to ensure that local workers are working on our project, and here's why. It's a negotiation, a contract that's entered in between the local labor hall and workers, union and non-union, go and sign in. They are not discriminated against. They are not shuffled in any way that would favor a certain contractor or a certain worker over others. But basically, the project labor agreement stipulates that there will be no strikes. They're not allowed to strike, but you would be paying prevailing wage. So we are obviously in favor of this. We signed 5 project labor agreements since Supervisor Olson and I have been on the board.